Hypertrophy training is one of the least interesting topics that I have to talk about, and that's because I generally think the programming, in other words, the prescription of what to do in the gym, is what I call idiot-proof. It's not complicated. You can do any number of things, and if you work really hard at it and do it consistently, it's probably going to work. At the same time, actually growing lean muscle in most people, it's really challenging. And so what's the juxtaposition there? Why is it that the programming is so simple, but the results are so hard? Well, a couple of things. You have to work, and you have to do it consistently. You're not going to respond in 1 or 2 workouts a week and then having an off week and then backing down and doing a program great for 3 weeks or 6 weeks and then coming back down. So that's one of the problems, is people just don't stay on their program long enough and they're not consistent. They tend to like to blame it on a bad program or an ineffective program, but it is generally not the case. Usually it's going to come down to execution and consistency. If that's not the cause, then you have to start looking about the other end of the equation, which is your own internal physiology. So a couple of explanations that come up here are things like, I'm not a responder. And that's clearly true, though we have more and more research coming out on that explaining what's happening there. A lot of times it is simple things like, have you gone and checked off the basics? So are you sleeping appropriately and sufficiently and consistently? Are you eating an appropriate diet? Macronutrients, calories, quality, all those things. Is your underlying physiology healthy, or do you have what we call a hidden stressor somewhere? So the things like sleep and nutrition and hydration are what we call visible stressors, because you see them, you feel them. But there are hidden stressors happening inside your body that could be compromising your growth that you may or may not know the direct symptom for. This could be micronutrient deficiencies. This could be some dysfunction in the gut microbiome. It could be psychological or total stress load. So there's a term in science we use called allostatic load or allostasis. And so we know the total stress load throughout your body from all things goes into this calculus. Your training is another stressor. Your mental state is another stressor. Pathogens or parasites in your body are other stressors. Heavy metals, other toxins going on are all stressors. So if that side of the equation is already really full, and then you add your little bit of training stress on top of that, you could be overfilling that bucket and you don't know why you're not getting the results. So the solution for that is, if you really think you're training hard and your program is effective and you are doing all the visible stressors at a high level, then I would probably start searching for some hidden stressor. And in our experience, that is highly successful endeavor to search out, find, and then resolve that hidden stressor. The reason I joke hypertrophy training is kind of idiot-proof is because if you look at the mechanisms that are needed to induce hypertrophy, they're actually quite simple. There's one of 3, and really more recent research suggests it's really probably just one, and that's mechanical tension. And so you have to put tension on the muscle. Think of this as load, right? You could do this by having a heavy load and doing it a few times. You could do this by having a moderate load and doing it 8 to 15 times, or you could do this by having a light load and doing it 15 or 20 or 25 times, or even more extreme, you could cut off circulation, like blood flow restriction, and have almost no load, or in fact, like less than body weight load, and do that 30 or 40 or 50 times. All of those things will induce equal hypertrophy. Not equal strength, but equal muscle growth. And that's because they're all really still coming down to the same fundamental funnel, which is they're inducing mechanical tension on the cell walls, which is then going to cause it to activate the signaling cascade, which then kicks off the protein signaling mechanisms for gene expression, to then kick off the protein synthesis cascade, and now all of a sudden you've built muscle. And so really, you can come about this in any number of ways. The easy analogy would be like driving to this campus. There are 7 or 8 different roads that come in, but no matter what, they're going to land you in the exact same building. So I don't really care how you get here. You do have to cross campus though. At some point, you have to cross the threshold of being on this campus. Once you're on this campus, you're on this campus. When you're not on this campus, you're not on it. Come in any road you'd like, come in from any state, come on an airplane, doesn't matter, come on a bike, come on a walk, come on a car, motorcycle, doesn't matter. You cross the threshold, you're on campus or you're not. It's kind of binary like that. So once you've hit that threshold and you start inducing muscle protein synthesis and you start growing lean tissue, you're going to gain some muscle. There's infinite strategies for this. And if you look at the coaching world, you'll see countless numbers of programs and they all work. And there's a reason for that. So when somebody comes to me and says, hey, what would you do, Andy, to maximize muscle growth over the next, say, 6 weeks? I could really give you any answer, and it honestly wouldn't matter that much unless I knew a ton of information about you personally. And so just to give you a quick answer there. You could do something as simple as linear periodization, 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps, 70 to 75% of your 1 rep max, couple of minutes rest in between sets, and just try to progress a little bit every single week, whether that's adding a couple of repetitions, whether that's adding a little bit of weight. You do that for 6 weeks, and if everything else is taken care of, you're going to grow some muscle.